Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is the Real Film Pod. Welcome back to another video. My name is Jameson here with Lucas, and today we are going to be breaking down Spider-Man Brand New Day and everything that you might have missed from the movie. And for those of you who have not watched it, go watch it. Definitely, probably one of the best Marvel movies that have come out in within the last couple years. And then come back to this video so you can hear our breakdown. So, with all that being said, here we go.
So yeah, guys, we got Spider-Man Brand New Day. Just saw it a few days ago, and I gotta say, it is one of the best Marvel movies I've seen since No Way Home. I mean, this movie really accomplishes everything I wanted to see out of a Spider-Man movie. A very grounded, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man movie. We got to see the Punisher, got to see the Scorpion a little bit, got to see, like I said, a more of a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and that's what I really liked about this movie. Introducing the MCU's mutant saga, key players going into Avengers Doomsday. This movie is going to set up Avengers Doomsday, really showing that Peter Parker is struggling, and more of a depressed Peter that I honestly like to see. This movie really reminded me a lot of Spider-Man 2. That being said, what are your thoughts?
So yeah, as you said, there is a lot of things to like from this movie. Obviously, there's some negatives, but I think that comes with every movie. No movie is exactly perfect, but this, out of all the Spider-Man movies that we've had in MCU, is undoubtedly the best that we've had. No shade to any of like the Home trilogy. Obviously, No Way Home, probably the best one out of the trilogy. Although, in my opinion, I think it's a fan service esque type of movie. Some might say the same thing for this. But this is definitely undoubtedly the best that we've had throughout all the Spider-Man films. Just all the callbacks to certain villains and comic panels like we have with Spider-Man and Boomerang, with Tarantula, with the Hand, with Scorpion. Actually, it's similar, and then the one with Tombstone. That's actually
Yeah.
one of my negatives that I have. That Tombstone is a huge kind of like mob boss villain, kind of like Hammerhead, a little bit. It plays a crucial role in Spider-Man's just like rogues gallery and his whole character. So to only have him showing for about 10, 15 seconds, I think was really disappointing. I would have liked to see a lot more of him, especially because of how important his character is. Actually, one of my theories was he was going to be one of the main villains
Yeah.
of this film. Now, nothing wrong with Damage Control. Obviously, they ended up being the overarching villains of the movie, and they play a huge role, especially with everything with the introduction of Sadie Sink's character being Jean Grey, and we will get to all of that very shortly. But I just thought,
Yeah.
let you guys know.
But yeah, Peter's lost everything. He lost, of course, he lost Aunt May, he lost MJ, lost Ned, lost Happy. Uh, Very depressed Peter Parker. He lost the Avengers as his support system, and because of Doctor Strange's spell, make everyone forget who I am, make everyone forget who Peter Parker is. Like Strange said, it would be low as you never existed. Those were the key words, and that's what we saw in this movie. We saw
He
his.
said, "Forget, make everyone
Yeah,
forget who I am."
yeah. So, we saw him and MJ, we saw MJ saying, I don't love you because I don't know you, Y-
That was heartbreaking.
people are saying that, I waited 5 years for this, but I kind of like that they didn't show right away that MJ does remember him. I mean, they show, I guess, Ned at the end, but I don't
Potentially, but
potentially.
and like you said, that's one of my worries with the movie that they were gonna have, were that they were gonna have everybody kind of Ed and MJ remember him after just one movie or just after No Way Home. I would have been so mad about that because like the whole premise going into this movie was Peter being alone, nobody remembering him, and to have them remember in this movie would have been such a waste of that concept.
Well, we almost got a scene where MJ was with Peter and she
But
was like Peter, but it was actually Jean Grey. That was crazy.
you don't have
I could
to.
not forgive someone if they did that.
And
But
she almost killed her too.
she almost killed, threw her off the rooftop, and Peter did save her. Um, reminding me of course, TASM 2. But yeah, this makes this version of Peter feel so different. He's no longer living with Stark's technology or relying on powers to solve his problems. He's got that new suit, my favorite Tom Holland suit. My favorite suit of all time is TASM 2. But this feels very similar to the classic Spider-Man comics. His suit. That being said, Brand New Day also having One More Day as the comic. Love that we saw the Punisher. That was great.
Yeah, I think Frank and Peter's I feel like their chemistry, it felt so natural. It didn't seem forced. It seemed like they had been at this at kind of like odd ends, but also kind of like this big brother, little brother type of thing.
Yeah.
I think that was definitely a highlight of the movie. Frank definitely kind of being that comedic relief, but in moments had some like serious scenes. Especially like the scene in the hospital, actually, where I feel like he actually kind of showed emotions, but they also kind of made it into a
Guys,
gag.
John Bernthal finally took a nap. So that's great. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, do you?
No, I don't. Well, it's because what in
No,
Punisher?
there's a thing going around. John Bernthal saying that he doesn't believe in naps, and then he takes a nap in the fucking movie. I thought that was funny.
I don't take naps. I just don't have time for naps, man. That's for the fucking birds, man. I don't trust people to take naps, dude. I just found that.
But yeah, at first he just seems to be there for some action scenes. Just seems to be there as I thought he was going to have a little bit smaller role. Very happy he had a big role in this movie. That's what I was worried about.
Yeah, I also thought he was gonna maybe be in that like that one scene, and that was it. He actually played somewhat of a pivotal role in this movie.
He was very, he's very funny in this movie. We never really saw Frank as a funny character. Kind of always saw him as very serious. This guy always wanted to kill somebody.
I think they definitely toned down his intensity and seriousness in this movie. I mean, I know it's a PG-13, and Punisher was like, for like it was a lot more gruesome and stuff, especially with like the language. So I know they gotta have to tone that down. But I feel like they didn't have to do it as much. I feel like he could have still had like that same overall mentality that he had within the shows. I mean, and he wanted to kill Jean, and he almost did if it wasn't for Peter.
Wasn't for Peter. I mean, after everything Frank's been through, the only way to stop dangerous people is to eliminate them permanently, and that's still he believes that. I think he's starting to not believe that as much.
That's like his code.
Yeah, that is his code. I mean,
That's why I do what I do.
Frank constantly challenges him throughout the movie, whether Spider-Man's actually making the world safer, Punisher, believing in eliminating people to make that's just his law. That's what Frank believes in. This movie is using Frank as a warning what Spider-Man could become if he ever becomes dangerous. That famous quote in Daredevil, season 2, episode 2, where Frank said to Matt, he said, "You're one bad day away from becoming me."
You're one bad day away from being me.
And that quote really hits different when you see what.
Well, that's his also. That's kind of like Daredevil's mantra. No matter how heinous a criminal is, like Kingpin or Bullseye, no matter what, he doesn't believe in killing. Kind of like Batman, they both have that same moral code. Although Daredevil did try to kill Benjamin Poindexter after killing Foggy. Spoiler if you haven't seen Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah,
thankfully he kind of survived, so technically he has not killed anybody yet.
No, he's like you said, he's Marvel's Batman. But yeah, the contrast between them really reflects on their comic book history. They've been in multiple comics together. Spider-Man and the Punisher teamed up multiple times over the different years. But by the end of the movie, I mean, Peter doesn't really adopt Frank's methods quite yet. But his encounter with the Punisher, I feel like, is amazing. And like he's seeing that father role in Tony Stark. He saw that father role in Doctor Strange. Now he's seeing it in Frank.
And I think one of the biggest points to talk about in this movie is the change in Peter with his powers and how they are evolving. As we see, though, we see that he actually gets organic web fluid, and he's going through like this new phase, as you call it, Spider-Man puberty. That his powers are being amplified, and he can't like quite physically control them yet. And I think that it's kind of similar to I'd say Spider-Man 2 with Tobey, as in his movie he actually lost his powers and had like this blockage where he couldn't.
Yeah.
While in this movie it's quite the opposite effect, where actually Tom gains these new abilities, and he's trying to fight through it and control it, or trying to suppress it as much as he can. As he notices that it's kind of affecting his character and how he acts, nearly killing a police officer from his recklessness in his fight against Scorpion.
Yeah, the black eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's learning to suppress it or somehow control it, as it's kind of changing the way he acts.
We saw he was looking up on YouTube the Spider-Man. That's the only time we've heard Keith David's voice.
An absolute waste of the character.
Yeah.
No, Keith David, yeah. I feel like he could potentially have a bigger role in another Spider-Man movie. But yeah, you have an actor like Keith David and you only have him narrating the fucking stage with spider cycles.
It was just a YouTube video he was watching.
Yeah, and that was it. Like, what, 30 seconds? I thought he was going to play the Jackal. I thought it would have made sense, too, because Punisher's first ever appearance in the Spider-Man was in Spider-Man, and the villain of that comic was the Jackal. So I thought the stars aligned for that to happen, and it never ended up playing out. So that was my rumor my theory that the Jackal and like someone with the Clone Saga was going to happen. However, I think that still might happen. Because with damage control, you saw when they go into actually the facility of damage control in New York, we see that in She-Hulk, as much as I hate the show, that they reference damage control again, with their location. I think was it in California or something like that. They have multiple locations. So when Frank and Peter go into the building, this actually isn't the first time. Peter actually went in originally to talk to the head of damage control. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But he was asking what VMAX was, and VMAX actually isn't anything. We'll talk about that later on.
Definitely.
But yeah, both Gene and Peter, was asking what VMAX is. But he was just, talking to him, and what was he actually talking to him about? They both knew like this threat with like these telekinetic, who had
telekinesis powers. Yeah,
exactly.
A little bit of him talking to him, and really like being on Peter's side, and then we realizing they were actually the main antagonist of the movie.
Well, that's what we were to believe. So back to what I was saying though, we see though when they're looking through the building that there's a bunch of like these test experiments. There's like this human skull, like this gelatinous goo. And so maybe like testing on human beings, potentially Sarah Gray. Well, actually, no. Was it Sarah?
Sarah's the sister that died.
Yeah, no, Sarah. So, so we see that they are experimenting on people and potentially cloning people, and the Jackal is part of the Clone Saga, as we've mentioned in previous videos. So that's why I think he could still potentially play a bigger role, maybe, or they just wasted it. I really don't know. Dustin Daniel Cren, he's a great director. He directed Shang-Chi, and I think he's very faithful to the comics, as we see, with the comic panels and all that stuff, and to like Pacific Origins. I like that he pays homage to the things that came before. So I feel like there's a bigger reason, and if you use an actor like Keith David, you're not going to have him for 30 seconds just narrating.
Yeah, Peter's mutation was so cool. I love that we saw it throughout the movie. We saw him wake up in the cocoon, saw him doing webs just shooting out his wrist.
Trying to now somehow adapt to it.
It was kind of funny because him and Andrew were kind of grossed out at last movie, and now that he's actually starting to have it.
Yeah, and he was like, he actually mentioned Toby's like Peter too had organic web fluid, and he was pretty cool.
That came out of you.
Yeah. You can't do that, huh?
No? How on earth does that even?
So that was cool that he had a little callback to that.
Yeah. But now we talk about the beginning of the mutant era.
So would you like me to take this away?
Go for it.
All right. So yeah, I'm a little more familiar with X-Men and all that. So yeah, we finally get introduced. Everybody theorized that Sadie Sink was going to play Jean Grey. All the signs pointed to it. So we get introduced, and the theater went crazy. For at least the one that we went to, everybody
our theater was awesome.
Yeah, everybody's reaction to her being Jean Grey.
We sat next to two Marvel fanatics who would have been perfect candidates for the channel, I think.
Yeah, we should have definitely got them on here for sure. They had quite a lot. We had a lot of good theories for potentially down the road in the future for Doomsday, Secret Wars, and just the X-Men saga in general. Um, but yeah, so Jean Grey, yeah, we finally get introduced to her, and Sadie Sink is gonna be. I mean, she's. This is like a big, huge. This isn't just like, oh, this is kind of like a small character. This is like
No, it's
huge for the foreseeable future for Marvel in general. Given having one of the biggest characters in Marvel, especially when it comes to X-Men. Um, and so she's gonna be like a huge pivotal part in Marvel for the next like 15, 20 years, I think, depending
now
on
Sadie
where they want to
Sink,
go with
she
her.
is a lot younger than the Jean Grey we saw in the X-Men.
Right.
Now,
What
Sadie
wait,
Sink,
hold
hold
on.
on.
Wait, what X-Men are you talking about?
I'm talking about
Oh yeah, she's a lot younger
what's her name? I don't know her the actress name. I just saw the movie the other day.
from the original
Yeah, the
X-Men,
original.
from the 2000 X-Men.
Yeah, 2000.
Do you know that Kevin Feige, that was actually his first project he ever worked on?
Really?
He wasn't the director of anything, but he was kind of like a slash like producer or something like that.
Okay. Well, he did good. I like that movie.
Well, I mean, he's the Marvel executive now,
Okay.
so he kind of everything kind of runs
That's
through
awesome.
him.
That's great guy. But yeah,
Great guy.
Sadie Sink. We were kind of skeptical about her playing the role of Jean Grey, but I gotta say she killed it. You
Yeah.
know better than me because you watched all the X-Men, but I think she did a phenomenal job.
No, absolutely. I think everybody was a little apprehensive on it, but like you said, I think she absolutely killed it, delivered the role, and there was so much raw emotion. Um, but yeah, so now with the introduction of Jean Grey, the first ever like confirmed mutant in the MCU. Now you have Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel slash Miss Marvel, and Namor or Namor, however you want to pronounce it. Um, they're also mutants, but like this is like the first kind of like X-Men slash mutant that has been fully confirmed into the MCU as their next phase after the soft reboot in Secret Wars is the mutant saga, and I like that they are going to focus on that too because I mean X-Men, I mean they fully have the rights now to use X-Men. I mean Disney bought out Fox, who originally had the rights to the X-Men franchise, but now to finally see the MCU incorporate them into their projects and have that be the next focal point into the soft reboot, I think that's really important. So I think implementing the mutants now, I think that is a great job. And also we saw a potential rogue Easter egg.
Rogue Easter egg when she was on the train.
But she was on a bus
On the
and he
bus.
was webbing. He was
Yes,
trying
yeah.
to hold on to the tank.
We saw that in the trailer too. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had like, and Rogue, she has like part of it white and part of her other hair
But yeah, like
black.
you said, it really opens the door for a lot of future X-Men to come in the MCU. Maybe in Secret Wars we'll see her. Possibly, I would love that. That'd be awesome.
Jean,
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't think she's gonna be in Doomsday.
I don't think she's
'Cause I think they're
even being
filming
taken
this
over.
when they're filming Doomsday, so I don't think she'll be in Doomsday. Secret Wars, possibly.
But I mean, we see her on the bus leaving New York, and everybody's theorizing that she is heading to the X Mansion, and that
I
could.
can see why not.
Well, that's kind of where people. I mean, where mutants.
Well, her story's not gonna end there. Her
What?
story's not gonna end in this.
No, of course not. I mean, dude, she is the one of the most important pieces in the X Men or slash mutant saga.
Mhm.
So that waste her in just this movie.
Yeah, Sadie Sink killed the role. Saw a little bit of her backstory. Saw what happened to her sister Sarah. Realizing that she wasn't really the big bad of this movie, and I really like
As
that.
they made it out to be. Yeah, in the first half, she was kind of like we learn like she's obviously going after for damage control because we learned that. So yeah, they made it out to that she was actually the main villain, where damage control actually happened to be the actual villains of this movie, and they've been throughout Marvel too. This isn't their first appearance. They're
No.
kind of like this overarching villain. They've been in Homecoming, after the Battle of New York, where they took over Adrian Toomes slash Vulture's crew. Um, Saw him in No Way Home, saw him in Wonder Man. Great project. Unfortunately, season 2 has been canceled. And now we see him in um, this movie to be the main villains and experimenting on people like Jean and Sarah. And um, we actually learned that when they captured Sarah, we find out that Jean finds out that they killed her
Yeah,
sister.
Jean finds out that they killed her sister, and they're honestly researching different mutants and attempting to control people with their genetics. And that was so sad. The whole backstory about how her sister passed away. Her sister was saying, "Oh, pick one, pick one." They were having fun with it. Realizing,
Well, yeah, they were
backstory.
learning their powers and kind of like realizing that their like their telepathy or like telekinesis
Yeah,
only goes so far, 38 feet or something like that. That's what Peter found out, or Evie found out. His
his
Jarvis,
Yeah,
Jarvis, yeah. So I thought that was kind of
Um,
that was cool. Actually, after Jarvis got destroyed in Age of Ultron, his new Tony's new AI he called Friday.
and then we saw that.
Just ignore it like I didn't say it.
No, that's for them to hear. We saw that. Yeah, Jane was controlling basically everybody, kind of a border where she couldn't. Where the Punisher was, where Frank was standing here, and then the border was right here, where apparently her powers can't reach more than that.
Well, it can't go further than 38 feet. That's what we learned. And we actually learned that Jean, which is to be expected, is way stronger than her sister. Damage control, they capture both Sarah and Jean at both different times. And that's where Jean finds out that the room that she was in was the last thing that her sister ever saw. Is they do the experiments. I forgot what the main reason why they were doing these experiments, but in doing that on the Jean, it actually unintentionally amplifies her powers, and we see that she freezes about half of New York using her powers, controlling pretty much everything around her.
We saw Ned and MJ get frozen in time. We saw that people at the restaurant got frozen in time. And Frank just looking at everyone, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, great character. She almost killed the head of damage control, and Peter stopped it from happening. Basically taking up a look.
I mean, she was honestly, I think, at first you actually kind of hate her a little bit, nearly killing MJ. Pretty much, I mean, you can, I think, sympathize for her now. She was actually quite a victim for sure. And so, yeah, with the addition to Jean Grey, there's actually kind of like another villain, but I don't want to say it's like another villain. So we know that there are two villains somewhat. So we have Jean as kind of like the anti-hero type thing. She's kind of like like a broken villain,
Yeah,
you'd say.
she's a broken villain.
And then you have the overarching threat with Department of Damage Control. But you also have like another, like this internal conflict with Peter where he has this like seclusion, like isolation, the sense of loneliness and depression. He's been Spider-Man for 3 years. He's been without nobody knows him. So to have MJ and Ned come back and just this is like his first time really seeing them once they went to MIT and having no like recollection of who he is, just being like a neighbor type of thing. And then the mention of the friendly neighbor is like, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is his first time seeing that. And so he had been having like these headaches too with his new abilities coming in. But after this, that is when it starts happening. When he's in his apartment after the party, he collapses.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So yeah, that's also like another important thing is like that isolation and just being that sense of being alone. You have nobody in your life that you can go to. I think that plays a pivotal role. Tough. I mean, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's really tough, man. Being by yourself, kind of how we all felt during COVID. I mean, it's a tough situation. He was really fighting himself during that,
It was an internal conflict. With Ned and stuff, we actually see them kind of build a connection. So yeah, we know that MJ, she sees the letter and how they had a relationship previously. And
she didn't tell Ned. She did not tell Ned about the letter.
No, and then that's when Ned's like, you know Spider-Man's name?
Yeah.
Or something like that. But yeah, we see them back at the apartment. building Legos, him and Ned, and actually kind of having a connection because they used to do Legos together.
Yeah.
So I kind of see that. I mean, obviously it's him and Spider-Man, but to seem like he already have like this chemistry. This is like really their first time meeting, but they like actually seem like. I mean, that's what MJ said when she was drawing them. Like, I can actually see you guys being friends.
Best friends. Like, yeah, the end scene when he goes to see Ned, and basically him, he was like, I'm Peter, and he was like, okay.
Well, no, he didn't go to see Ned, but Ned walked into the.
And Peter walked in. Ned was sitting down.
Oh yeah. You're right.
And he was like, yeah, I'm Peter, and then
He was like, okay.
And then the handshake. Muscle memory.
Muscle memory. Like, he never had the handshake with anything, and then they end the movie off with Ned saying, "Peter,
Yeah.
like making him remember. I think that was a good time. Maybe we don't know, but
Every time to end the movie.
Why would the movie end right there if he didn't even know who he was? So
yeah, exactly,
I think Ned remembers that.
But how is
Peter
he
Spider-Man?
How is he gonna make MJ remember? How is that gonna go about? We don't know.
might
Maybe
not.
Jean Grey will help.
I mean, she says that whoever. It's kind of like a Gamora situation, when Peter Quill, ironically, lost Gamora, and then the new Gamora that he got back, into Guardians 3, she doesn't love him, and same thing with his MJ. Like, she's not the MJ that she once was.
Like, we were in love. Yeah, Gamora said that.
I bet we were fun.
You wouldn't believe.
Next on our list, we will talk about Bruce Banner.
You can go ahead and start with that.
Bruce Banner. So, yeah, Bruce Banner fills a very different role than Tony Stark did. Tony helped Peter become a different superhero.
He was his mentor.
Through his technology. Yeah, like I was saying, those father figures. First, we see Bruce at a college, ESU, I believe. Peter walked in. He's telling him that his name's Ned. Saw the Hulk guy dressed up as the Hulk. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's teaching having one of his
quantum something physics.
Quantum physics, or I think that's exactly what it was. Yeah,
but Bruce, he's trying to finally live a normal life, and he spent years living with a body that's permanently changed. Understanding, he's trying to understand Peter's fears, and when they went to the building, the inhibitor was off. Jean Grey took it. We predict that in the trailer. It was like, get out of the building, and then the big green monster comes out, and we have
no Banner, only
Banner, no
Hulk.
Girl, only Hulk. Peter going to talk to Bruce about his inhibitor. Want to learn more about it, so then Peter can put an inhibitor on Jean Grey.
Which he does. Well, he puts the inhibitor on her. So her powers are suppressed, and that's when damage control captures her. But then he also uses it on himself, where MJ actually helps him back in Punisher's, like, one of his like camps or whatever, like that ship that he was on. But yeah, they use that so his new abilities can stop affecting him from. Because it was preventing him from being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he was being reckless, nearly killed the cop. So with doing that, he was able to suppress those. But towards the end, at the prison scene, where Jean was taking over everything, that's when he realized that, like, she asked, are you going to be Peter or are you going to be Spider-Man?
Yeah.
And he takes the inhibitor off, and he's going to be both.
Yeah.
And that's where he's able to. It's kind of like can turn it on and turn it off. He's able
both. Yeah,
he's able to control it.
Gave me chills.
Which was, I think, that was awesome, and that's also a missed opportunity to show Daredevil, because he could somehow the prison cell could have opened and he could have helped Spider-Man in his prison jumpsuit, and then he could have helped him fight the hand.
Cool.
And then he could have went back into the cell, act like nothing happened. I think that was another missed opportunity.
Just like a 2-minute scene. They could have added.
That would have been so badass.
That would have been fucking.
I wish they added that.
Peter or what? Oh, yeah, obviously.
He wouldn't know who he is, but that I think, because they're in the same universe.
And he has that senses of if something's going down, he's gonna know. So
well, he has the what do you call it? Like it's that dolphins have. It's kind of like this echolocation. Yeah. So I wish they added, and that's the thing too with the contract that Sony has with these characters, because even though they are in the same universe and are all reside in New York, it feels like they're in different universes.
Yeah, like
Because
Hell's Kitchen is so close to. I feel like it's so close to Queens, if not like a 30-minute drive. So it's like
they're not far away, but yeah, like I know because of the thing with Sony, they can't have Spider-Man not with they have to
pay the fucking rights. All right, make it happen.
Yeah, cause fuck Sony. Nobody gives a shit. Every time when Sony came up in the movie, everyone was like, "Fuck Sony." Everybody hates them. So that's really, I don't understand that, because you know how many people would kill to see just like a couple minutes of Spider-Man and fucking Born Again or Daredevil.
Imagine getting that to
Yeah.
see.
So the fact that you have these characters that live so close to each other but never meet, except for No Way Home, but to have them never meet, like I said, it feels like they're in two different.
Of course, No Way Home.
worlds.
No Way Home was awesome. They showed so many things about like they showed Matt, they showed the three spiders. You know,
I'm a really good lawyer.
I'm a really good lawyer. But yeah, that scene with the Punisher, the Hulk, and Spider-Man all fighting each other, that was my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, no, I thought that the cinematography, just the fight choreograph and the cinematography throughout the film, I think just absolutely phenomenal.
Now,
Did a great job. And yeah, seeing Savage Hulk for the first time since Infinity War, I actually want to say this is the first time we actually saw like the real Savage Hulk since Age of Ultron, because they made him a joke in Ragnarok, and then yeah, he was gone in Infinity War. You're a bad friend, big monster.
Big monster!
Yeah, it was so
goofball.
it was so stupid, and that really wasn't the Hulk. This is the first time we actually see Savage Hulk. I mean, he had been dormant for so long now.
He was pissed off. He was ready. He was ready to kill Peter. Now, when we saw Peter, you know, Hulk grabbing him by the throat, he's like, "It's about Peter. I'm your friend." But
I feel like that's kind of so yeah. And then there's like this recollection, and I mean, he's like, "We know each other" or something like that. There's this recollection in the Hulk where he realizes that, and then lets himself fall. Now, the problem I have with this is, I mean, I know Hulk was within Bruce that whole time when he was Professor Hulk, and in that battle against Thanos. Yeah, they kind of knew each other, and Hulk is always there, but like they've never really had a full encounter. Like Spider-Man never had a full encounter, or even had an encounter with Savage Hulk. So to act like they've been friends for so long, I didn't quite understand that.
because he told Banner that his name was Ned, and he told the Hulk.
He's like, "I'm Peter, I'm your friend."
Yeah, but they never really met.
No, they never did.
They never met.
If you don't count Professor Hulk.
If you don't count Professor Hulk, then they didn't. But yeah,
So I think a lot of people are questioning how this movie leads into Doomsday, and we see in the post-credit scene the Spidey tracker signaling something far from without Earth. There's actually something in space.
yep. The whole
And-
credit scene. Yep.
Yeah, so people are theorizing that this could be, because we don't know when this is happening, but this could be Peter potentially being in Doomsday, or hinting at him being in Secret Wars, which obviously is going to probably take place outside of Earth, is what they're at least what they're signaling to, or it could potentially be a Spider-Man variant of some sort, or some type of Spider-Man with the black symbiote heading to Earth. Or something like that. Obviously, we know the symbiote is eventually going to bond with Spider-Man. I really want that to happen. I don't think it's going to happen in the next film, but definitely the one after that. So I'm excited to see what they do. But yeah, we don't really know what the meaning of that is. I'm hoping that we can learn about that. Maybe he will be in Doomsday. I highly doubt it, but it's definitely.
I think Toby will be in Secret Wars.
I see. I don't know why you think Toby. Look, I love that we got to see him in No Way Home. I thought that was awesome. But like, why are they going to use him again?
I don't know. It's the theory I have.
I don't think it's a good theory.
It's not just me who have it.
Yeah, no. I'm
But
fucking
yeah,
with you.
like I said, I wish we got Daredevil in this. You know, they're in the same. Literally, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Punisher are all in the same area.
All take place
Like,
within
we're
New
how
York.
far is Hell's Kitchen from
Queens.
Queens?
Uh,
I mean, it's got to be in the same area.
so, somewhere in that.
Yeah.
And we've never even had a Spider-Man reference or anything within Daredevil. We have a mention where Wilson Fisk slash Kingpin
Yep.
mentioned, or a man dressed in a spider outfit or something like
Yep.
that. He'll show the clip.
Here it is, guys.
There's a skull on his chest, or a man who dresses in a spider outfit.
But what was I gonna say? But like I know there's like this thing with Sony and they have like this clause where you can't use them outside of like a movie under their, because they somehow still have the rights to Spider-Man, and I wish they would just lose it. Fuck Sony, it's bullshit because they can't use him. Really, like if he wasn't connected to that contract, then like they could have probably implemented him into Daredevil a plethora of times, or showed like how maybe some webbed up task force members, but it feels like they're in completely different universes because of those contracts. I mean, they're all, like you said, all within New York, so the fact that they can't have like a hint at it at all,
Yeah.
makes it feel like they're completely different entities. You know what I mean? Like from different universes.
And then actually in the movie, we do finally see Yelena in the her office.
Yeah, like that spa type thing. But yeah, Yelena. So, this was kind of rumored that there was going to be a scene between her and Peter. And yeah, okay, I see that you want to talk about it. So, sorry, I kind of.
Okay, next up, we gotta talk about Yelena, her office. You know, we saw Yelena in Belova.
Yelena Belova.
Saw her talk about her small and big potatoes. She's also hints that MCU's next generation of heroes is finally taking shape, helping connect Spider-Man's story to the wider future of Marvel. And, you know, obviously we're going to see the new Avengers / the Thunderbolts and Doomsday.
Well, so yeah,
it's a sequel.
there's also a whole problem with like the new Avengers because Sam Wilson is, has like this copyright or suing them for taking the Avengers titles, and people are kind of like have mixed feelings between or having mixed feelings with the new Avengers and stuff like that. So there's like this internal conflict. It probably may get resolved within in Doomsday, knowing that they have, you know, when common, I don't want to say enemies because they're not enemies, but when two enemies have a common threat, you know.
Yeah.
So which that being Doom, of course.
And the third act of the movie, when Peter takes the bullet for Jean when he got shot by the Punisher. Obviously unintended. He was trying to shoot someone else. And, you know, Peter going to the ground. Were you shitting your pants around that? Or
What?
He was fine. Peter, when he got shot.
So I thought that this was gonna be
The symbiote.
the symbiote thing, where like in Amazing Spider-Man 2 by Insomniac, like the symbiote at the end was gonna revive him or something like that.
Yeah. So.
And that's also the scene too where Jean taps into his mind, kind of talks to Aunt May or whatever, and then talks to Peter and is like, and this is where she realized that she's not alone because she had Peter and all of that, and to see him get shot down, and she's like, oh my god, no, because she just realized that now she has somebody else in her life, and Peter, just to almost watch him die.
Yeah.
We learned from Frank that she was actually using her abilities to keep him alive.
Yep, she was using her abilities to keep Peter alive. So it was awesome. The whole hospital scene was Bellevue Hospital, who we actually do see in other Spider-Man movies.
And that was cool too, that we see everybody outside the hospital supporting Spider-Man, seeing all the love.
Now you had a theory about that little boy.
Yes, I had a theory. I don't know if it makes sense, but I thought that was potentially Miles. And now the kid looked like we actually got a reference in Daredevil with Officer Morales. I don't know if you were
Officer Morales, yeah.
So now I have no idea if that is Miles. Obviously we had Donald Glover's Prowler in Spider-Man Homecoming talking about how he has a nephew. Now, this movie takes place in 2028, and this movie in Homecoming took place in the year 2016,
yeah.
I think. So I don't think it would add up. And maybe if it's like a different year, maybe like he was talking
baby
about
baby Spider-Man.
Miles might have been an infant. This kid looks like he's about 7 or 8, so I don't think it would tie up with the year.
How funny it would have been if when Peter was doing this, he actually shot a fucking web at him. That would have been
Oh yeah, yeah,
awesome. I wish
yeah.
I did that.
What?
And then and then we saw Punisher with put the Spider-Man mask. You know, he was
Yeah, that was. I mean,
Frank was enjoying the shit out of putting that mask on. You know,
even though he didn't want to act like a
we've seen a different Frank in this than I've ever seen. We've seen Frank apologize. We've seen Frank take a
cry.
We've seen Frank cry. I mean, this is a Frank Castle that I've never seen before, but I don't really mind. I don't really mind it.
No, I think I mean, so like the thing with the Punisher, obviously, this is a PG-13, so they have to tone him down. He can't be this violent, bloodthirsty killer that he is in the Punisher show.
Let me tell you something.
So let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something. Hell with this, Shane. I don't have that. Let me tell you something else, man.
So yeah, and he had help from Detective
Jean DeWolf. So Jean DeWolf has actually appeared in a Marvel Team Up issue 48. Who actually she died in that. Yeah, she basically is the new Happy for Peter in this.
Exactly.
movie.
I mean, she has her own personal. They both have. She has her own personal phone number with Peter / Spider-Man where they talk to each other. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a helpline a little bit.
Yeah, she's an NYPD detective investigating the strange crimes happening across New York, and kind of helping Peter along the way. Calling him her. What if her son is Miles Morales?
It's not, because we heard her.
Oh, heard her say. Yep, we heard her say.
Although that was a perfect opportunity.
Opportunity for him to say Miles, and I don't remember the other.
I think if she said Miles, dude, the reactions that we would have got from that.
Oh yeah.
100% missed opportunity.
I still think Miles Morales is going to be played by Caleb McLaughlin. I think that's a perfect role for him. Not just saying this because I'm a Stranger Things fanatic. I'm just saying it because I think it. I mean, I kind of am, but I'm just saying it because I think it would work out.
I mean, that's the fan casting that everybody's
Yeah.
doing, is that he should play Miles.
But yeah, she's trying to share evidence and information with Peter during the investigation, starting to become very suspicious of damage control and bit questioning what's going on, and that's when we see what actually is happening.
So there is one thing I want to mention, and that is Michael Mando's Scorpion.
Yep.
And how he, I mean, we waited over 10 years to finally see him, and how he kind of just got wasted in this film.
He did. I mean, I know he was going to have a big role.
He wasn't going to be the main villain.
No, he wasn't going to be, but he only had he had
three
kind of three scenes. He had the montage.
Right.
But he had one real fight scene.
And it wasn't even him.
That's when Peter Peter was mutating, and he turned into the,
It was Jean who was influencing him.
And it was Jean. Yeah, so we didn't really see a whole lot. Kind of wish maybe we will in the future. I don't know, because didn't they arrest him after that?
Oh yeah, they took him into custody. But yeah, I think that covers pretty much most of it. But if you want to see another video or us breaking down something specifically, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, if you guys want just an Easter egg related content, because we did find some Easter eggs along the way, let us know. This is our initial thoughts. Great movie. Yeah.
I think, yeah. So this has been the Real Film Pod, and we will see you in the next one.